Well, we all saw this coming. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and otherwise, what's up? My name is Devious, and welcome to New World. I've got some things to say, and judging by the fact that you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you probably want to hear them. So, kick back, grab a drink, and enjoy the tangent. Let's boogie. There won't be too much structure to this video, as I'm still fairly shallow into the game, just as a fair warning. Disclaimers out of the way, I'm enjoying my time so far. New World is not perfect by any means, but there's a bunch of little quality of life bits that make everything feel pretty smooth. It's all minor stuff that you see left out in other games and go, well, why isn't this better? That's kind of dumb. Stuff like crafting straight from your inventory, or tooltips that actually give you numbers including exact weapon damage when leveling a stat. Those stats actually telling you what they upgrade and by how much per tick. This is multiple redundancies and multiple different menus. I love this. The UI in general is fantastic. Everyone and their mother has said that. I won't call it polish, because this game is still very rough in certain regards, but I will say that the game feels pretty good to navigate and play in general. However, the lack of mounts or decent fast travel puts me off a fair bit. It's a chore to follow the main questline since it has you walking literally all the way across the map at some points. You can fast travel from town to town and a few points in between, and you can set an inn to use a return type spell on. But the fact that you have to already be in a town to do the basic fast travel, and that the inn returns, it's on a nearly hour-long cooldown, make life a bit more difficult than it has to be. This could be easily solved with some kind of travel speed boost like mounts or some kind of spell, or actually Arcade Unchained had something pretty cool with this in the early areas. They had like little nodes that you could activate and it gave you a pretty nice speed boost before you could get them out. Something like that might help a little bit, just little waypoints along the roads to give you speed boost. There's not any way that I know of at the moment. It's kind of like Skyrim or Oblivion, but you can't just click on a place to go. The entire game is like those first few days where you don't have any fast travel points and you have to either use the taxi services or just walk. Back to good things, the combat feels great after getting used to it. I've been bouncing between melee and the bow with a touch of the musket here and there, and so far things feel pretty good all around. I'm not good at range fighting, but the melee is this slower paced chess game of cooldowns and time dodging. If you're good enough, you can dance between 2 or 3 people by yourself without too terribly much of an issue. And I've had moments like that, despite being fairly bad at the combat. It's less reflexive and more strategic, which allows for a smarter player to outfight a faster player or players consistently. The weapon balancing is in question at the moment, as my favorite weapons, the Great Axe, Hatchet, and Sword and Shield, and lately Hammer, are considered pretty dang strong. The Sword and Shield is fairly balanced but a great tank set, while the Hatchet and Great Axe flings out damage like mad and has some good utility. A small extension to that is the range versus melee matchup. Usually range dominates this in similar games, at least in my experience, until someone develops a build that makes ranged really sweat. In New World, ranged players have to either take a melee option or resign to sprinting away from most of the fight. Everyone moves at similar speeds, even people in heavy armor, like me on some occasions, and most people usually use some combination of heavy and medium. And when you slow down to shoot, most melee players have some kind of movement ability or grab or something to catch up and start beating down on that snippy bow user that thinks he's invincible. I've got enough CC in my build to make a light character real nervous and enough damage to swing out while I'm in range. It's still annoying to have someone run away for half the fight, but such is life in PvP. The point I'm trying to make here is you cannot be perfectly safe while in a PvP situation unless you really outposition your enemy. About the PvP itself, I love the implementation of it. You can choose to queue up for PvP while inside of a settlement, and it will take effect, I think, 30 to 60 seconds after you leave, giving you time to avoid gankers if they're camping right outside the gates. If you don't want to fight others, though, you can just leave the PvP off and play the game like any other PvP-focused MMO for most early content. Going through the main questline is simple without having to worry about a random party of reds sprinting up and killing you. You still see the reds, but they can't hurt you, and vice versa. The whole opt-in, opt-out method is really nice for gatherers and people who just want to grind some quests without stressing. Call me a Care Bear if you want, but it makes me enjoy the game more. One last little note is that you don't lose gear or items upon dying in PvP or in the open world at all. You get a durability hit for whatever you're wearing, but that's about it. No XP loss that I've noticed, no gear loss, just a quick respawn and back in business. I really like this low risk. That gear that I worked my ass off to grind for doesn't get slurped up by someone who's already got gear light years better the second I run outside of town. Some of you hardcore open world PvPers might call me out for this, but I don't like having hundreds of hours gameplay and work going to waste in 10 seconds because little Johnny decided to pick on someone 10 levels lower than him. Yes, I'm jaded, no I don't care. As I understand it, gear and stats also get somewhat normalized in open world PvP. Not completely, as a random 50 absolutely rocked my world the other day, but I can rack that up as a minor stat advantage and knowing the game way better than me. Even against high-speed no-lifers, you can stand your ground. This feeling of being able to challenge anyone to some reasonable degree gives that accessibility that most hardcore open-world PvP games just completely lack. Some animals are unreasonably annoying to kill, while others are extremely easy. I wouldn't bother mentioning this at all, but there are community boards in every settlement that ask you to kill them sometimes, and it's just a nuisance when they do. Bison especially. They're big, soak a lot of damage at earlier levels, and will just knock you aside when they're running away, all while moving much faster than you. For melee, this is understandably agitating, so I avoid these quests entirely. Even for ranged, it takes a while to bring them down, and even then, someone else might slip in and start skinning ahead of you. It's happened to me a couple of times, and let me tell you, it doesn't feel great. This one's just a peeve, I think, so take it with a grain of salt. The crafting and gathering feel pretty nice. For crafting, you don't have to wait for a lengthy bar to fill up or anything like that. You craft however many you want, and it's just done. Right there. That's another one of those quality of life things that respects your time, which makes the lack of travel options a little more bearable. For gathering, there's no convoluted skills or minigame associated with them. Look at you, Crowfall. And again, you can just turn off PvP if you want to stock up on materials, at least as far as I've gotten. The grind is significant, but not unreasonable. I've gotten most gathering skills up to 50, same with the refining skills, and it wasn't too bad. Just a few runs of focus farming, and I was good to go. Later on, it'll be much harder to get up to level, I imagine, but at these rates, I don't see that being much of a problem. You do get a bonus to certain skills based on stats, as I understand it, but you can still do everything on one character with marginally better results on one optimized for it. Case in point, a lot of healers like to do fishing because focus gives that a bonus. All around, I'd give the crafting gathering side of things a solid thumbs up. That's honestly most of what I experienced so far, though. Aside from turning on PvP and roaming around looking for fights while I do a faction or settlement quest for levels, I've been pretty much chilling. I really like how the game doesn't seem like it's shoving me towards endgame. I can take my time and enjoy the journey without getting absolutely curb stomped by the super high speed people. Though still beta, it's got, I believe, a solid foundation for the future. Now obviously there's some problems. I've had some issues getting lag spikes that just don't go away and have to relog to fix them. Some rare random crashes. I haven't been able to localize why it does this, but beta. And there's a bit of jitter here and there that make life a little bleh, especially when you get into PvP. The frames start chugging in towns and gathering places, and I haven't seen any large fights yet to gauge the performance there, so overall though, annoyances aside, I do feel that urge to log in and hit the grind whenever I think of New World. It's got me pretty well hooked for release. And that will be pretty much it. I didn't want to go too in-depth because, honestly, I'm pretty bad at detailed videos, but since everyone's talking about it, I figured first impressions wouldn't be a bad idea. If you guys enjoyed, drop me a like and a comment down below, and if you'd like to see more, especially for the release of New World, kick that subscribe button and roundhouse bell next to it. I've got a Discord linked down below where you can hop in and play with me or just hang out. And by all means, toss any questions you have at me in the comments on Discord. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all next round.